My beloved child, stop everything you're doing and lean in. This is not just another message. This is the hour I've been waiting for since the foundation of your struggle began. I have seen your pacing. I have watched you overthinking, rechecking signs, wondering if the promise was delayed or if somehow you missed it, but I need you to hear me now. You are right on time. There was never a second where I took my eyes off you. I was not absent. I was waiting for the precise alignment where your faith could carry the weight of what I'm about to release into your life. Every disappointment, every detour, every betrayal, every loss, it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You were being strengthened in the fire while I was securing the stage for your reveal. The next chapter I am unlocking does not require the version of you that was bound by fear or paralyzed by indecision. That is why I did open the door earlier, because what I'm releasing now will demand full trust, bold obedience, and unshakable focus. Heaven has held back certain blessings not because you were unworthy, but because you were still learning how to protect what is holy. And now I see the shift in you. I hear the groaning of your spirit in the silence of your private tears. I feel the longing for more, not from a place of selfish want, but a hunger to be used by me to see lives changed, to walk in purpose, to be fully immersed in the fire of divine calling. I am about to change everything because now you are ready to carry what others would have mishandled. You are ready to steward what generations have prayed into existence. I am not speaking small changes. I am not here to tweak your comfort zone. I am bringing transformation that will be undeniable, uncontrollable, and irreversible. This won't be a gentle transition. It will be a holy disruption. The kind of shift that rearranges everything that tried to bury you. What I'm about to do will shake the ground beneath the lies you believed about yourself. I am stepping in with force, not because I'm angry with you, but because I love you too much to let you stay one more minute in this half-lived life. There is no more delay. No more waiting on another sign. No more wondering if you're ready. I'm here. I am active. And I am unleashing the fulfillment of promises you almost gave up on. This is divine interruption. Your schedule is about to be overridden by my urgency. Your routine is being invaded by destiny. Your heart, though scarred and tired, is now the vessel through which I will pour out a new beginning. So don't resist the sudden pull. Don't retreat just because it feels unfamiliar. This is not instability, it's divine movement. And you are standing at the epicenter of it. I have dispatched a shift, a sequence that cannot be undone once it begins unfolding. What you thought was still years away is about to meet you face to face. I am collapsing time. I am rearranging axis. I am rewriting your route. You do not need to prepare yourself any longer. I am your preparation. I am your strength. I am your certainty. What I am unlocking cannot be stopped by man, system, or enemy, because I am doing it myself. And now I need you to stay alert, stay in position, because the change you've been crying out for is no longer coming. It has already started. And the next thing I'm about to reveal to you will shake even your strongest doubts, because what appeared stagnant on the surface was never truly motionless beneath my gaze. Every perceived setback in your life was actually a carefully positioned step forward in disguise. You misread the pauses as punishment, but I was orchestrating a rhythm you couldn't hear, a melody only heaven understood. I wasn't ignoring your cries, I was preparing the environment for your arrival. Not just the places you're going, but the people involved, the hearts that needed shifting, the circumstances that needed softening, and the doors that had to be fortified for what I planned to pour into them through you. You thought it was a waiting room. I was building a runway. You assumed you were forgotten. I was protecting you from what would have suffocated your potential if released prematurely. Understand this. Acceleration without alignment leads to destruction. And I would never push you forward into something that wasn't stable enough to hold the weight of your calling. I saw the warfare you didn't even know was circling the gates of opportunity, so I silenced it in secret. I stepped into rooms you weren't even aware were forming opinions about your name, and I overturned verdicts that would have harmed your destiny. While you were restless, I was relentless, turning stones over, redirecting evil agendas, planting provision where only famine existed before. I withheld not to harm you, but to establish an unshakable foundation under you. Because what I'm releasing into your hands now isn't temporary, it's generational. I needed to align your heart, your motives, your posture, your discernment, your boundaries, your patience, your perception, and your endurance. You saw nothing happening, but I was arranging timelines like puzzle pieces across eternity. I planted encounters in your path that you mistook as coincidences, yet every one was a calculated thread I stitched together while you slept. You worried about the calendar, but I designed a collision with purpose that overrides deadlines. So when you see everything begin to unlock suddenly, don't call it random. Don't you dare call it luck. Call it what it is. My hand releasing what I concealed until the coordinates of heaven and your soul lined up like never before. And here's the secret you didn't know: I was also giving you time to heal from what you never grieved. The moments of silence weren't empty. They were sacred spaces for you to break and rebuild under my watchful care. I gave you room to mourn the old season, because the next one will demand a completely new level of maturity. You're about to step into conversations you didn't chase, into open gates you never knocked on, into blessings you didn't earn, but are now qualified for simply because you trusted me in the void. That trust, that stubborn refusal to give up when the heavens seemed silent, is what triggered the acceleration I'm now commanding in your life. I'm not rushing you forward, I'm sending you forward on the wings of precision. So don't be surprised when the pace increases. You won't feel frantic, you'll feel free. Everything you thought you missed will now meet you, not because you fought harder, but because you finally aligned with my rhythm. And this rhythm is not slowing down. I'm bringing relationships that match your new season. I am revealing strategies that don't resemble anything you've seen before. I am replacing confusion with clarity so strong that even your enemies will have no words to accuse. What they mocked as delay, I am revealing as design. The long nights were not wasted, they were woven into the tapestry I'm now unveiling. You didn't run out of time. You're walking into the fullness of it. Keep your eyes open, because the signs of movement will not be subtle. My timing is no longer approaching, it has begun. And from this moment forward, I am releasing movements that ripple into everything connected to you. Because what you interpreted as rejection was actually redirection toward a path that had been carved solely for you. I never turned you away. I rerouted you so that you wouldn't settle for something that could not sustain the magnitude of your purpose. Those locked places weren't barriers, they were blessings in disguise. If I had opened every door you knocked on, you would have walked into environments that weren't built to hold your calling. I saw beyond what you could perceive. You were chasing opportunities that glittered on the outside but carried hidden traps designed to drain your soul. I blocked access not to harm you, but to save you from empty victories that would have cost you everything. I delayed what you thought was good, because I'm delivering what is divine. I withheld not because you weren't worthy, but because I was making you ready for something that will require you to compromise your worth. You saw it as stagnation, but I was building stability inside of you. I allowed temporary disappointment so I could prepare a permanent appointment you'd never need to force. The rooms you weren't allowed into were not denials of your value, they were my way of keeping you from counterfeit crowns. Not every open path leads to purpose. Not every yes comes from me. That's why I had to teach you how to discern stillness, how to remain when everything in you wanted to rush, how to listen when silence felt unbearable. I trained your spirit in the quiet. I matured your discernment in the waiting. I refined your faith where others gave up. Because the position I'm assigning to you now requires more than talent or skill, it demands a soul that won't be seduced by surface-level approval. I closed doors so I could open eyes, yours first, then the ones who will witness what I'm about to do through you. You didn't fail. You grew. You didn't lose momentum. You gained depth. The places that said no to you didn't disqualify you, they confirmed that your destiny wasn't meant to be housed there. I am the one who promotes. I am the one who elevates. And I don't need permission from man to do what I've already sealed in heaven. The preparation you endured in private will now become your platform. You didn't see it, but I was strengthening the very areas that were once vulnerable to manipulation. I gave you time to rebuild your confidence in me so that when this next door swings wide open, you won't walk in needing their validation, you'll walk in carrying my authority. So when the next opportunity shows up, you won't question if it's real, you'll recognize it by the peace it carries. You'll recognize it because it won't require performance or compromise. It will feel like alignment, not striving. You won't have to chase what I've already reserved in your name. And when it opens, it won't just bless you, it will activate healing in every dry area of your story. Because this door won't just be about a moment, it's about movement. It's about momentum that doesn't fade with applause. It's about purpose that won't need to compete or compare. I'm restoring everything you thought you missed. I'm unlocking access you forgot you prayed for. And I'm doing it in a way that no man can take credit for. They will see it. They will watch it. But they won't be able to say they gave it. Because I shut every false door so you would never doubt the origin of the one I'm opening now. I will flood it with favor. I will saturate it with confirmation. I will protect it from contamination. This door will fit your new identity, not your old insecurity. And once you step through it, everything that tried to hold you back will lose its power because nothing you endured escaped my attention. Not the silent breakdowns behind closed doors. Not the aching questions buried beneath your brave face. Not the sleepless nights where your heart was screaming louder than words could ever say. I heard every cry that you never dared to release aloud. The ones you swallowed so others wouldn't worry. The ones that kept echoing in your chest when the world grew quiet. I have never been far, even when you convinced yourself I must be. I saw the exact moments when you almost let go, not just of hope but of yourself. You thought no one noticed how heavy life became. But I watched, moment by moment, as you chose to rise again, even when everything inside you felt hollow. I'm not responding now because you prayed louder, I'm responding now because your endurance moved heaven. You didn't perform, you persevered. You didn't demand, you endured. And that quiet resilience became the signal that released my intervention. You never had to earn my love, but you proved that your trust didn't waver even when my answers felt delayed. Now I'm stepping in, not gently, not slowly, but with power, because the weeping you've endured in secret has stirred a holy urgency in my spirit. You didn't know your unspoken tears were prayers, but every drop carried meaning. Every sigh was a plea. Every breath you took when it felt unbearable was a declaration of faith. And I have been gathering those sacred pieces, not to store them, but to use them as fuel for your restoration. The things you thought you lost in your suffering I'm about to restore in fullness. But I won't just replace what broke you, I will elevate you above it. I will make the very pain that almost silenced you become the platform through which others will find hope. You cried alone, but you will rise publicly. You bent under the pressure, but you never snapped. And because of that, I am releasing a redemption so complete that even your past will stand still and bow to your future. I will not just wipe your tears, I will water a harvest with them. Everything that dried up during your storm will bloom again, but this time it will flourish without fear of being taken. I'm not bringing back what you had, I'm introducing you to what I always intended. This isn't restoration to the past. This is revelation of what's ahead. And what's coming is laced with the compassion you were denied, the comfort you couldn't find, the clarity you desperately needed. I am placing my hand upon your chest and commanding peace to every battle still echoing in your memory. I'm not just dealing with your circumstances, I'm healing your soul. You thought I didn't see you, but child, I was closest when you were the most hidden. I held you when you didn't know how to hold yourself together. I fought for you when you had no more energy to pray. And now I'm sending visible answers. I'm sending undeniable shifts. I'm sending a sequence of breakthroughs that will silence every lie you ever believed about being forgotten. Your name has been spoken in places you haven't even stepped into yet. You were never overlooked, you were being preserved. And now that the tears have served their purpose, now that the soil of your life has been broken, I am planting miracles. Not one, not a few, but an overflow. You won't have room to contain what I'm about to release. Prepare your heart, because the atmosphere around you is being rearranged. The people, the moments, the timing, it's all converging now. I'm moving quickly. I'm responding to what you thought had been ignored. And I'm doing it in such a way that you'll never have to explain your journey. Your joy will speak for itself, because long before you sensed anything shifting, a decree was released in the unseen realm with your name marked in bold, undeniable authority. I didn't wait for people to approve you. I acted according to my will and released heavenly motion that will now manifest in tangible ways. What I authorized in the spirit cannot be stopped in the natural. My angels are already dispatched. Assignments have already been activated. The wheels have turned, and even though your eyes haven't caught up to it yet, the shift is already circling around your life. You're not at the edge, you're inside the unfolding. Pay attention, because you're going to notice patterns breaking without effort. You'll begin to witness people reappearing or disappearing without warning. Plans you didn't make will align in such perfect symmetry that it will feel surreal. That's not coincidence, it's confirmation. What have been stuck is suddenly being lifted. What was stagnant is about to surge. You're going to feel things accelerate, not by force, but by divine breath. You've been asking me to move, and I have not only heard you, I've already started. You will not need to beg for access when I've already unlocked the doors behind the scenes. The resistance that once blocked your way will now be used as proof that something greater is approaching. When I speak motion into a life, nothing remains untouched, not even the smallest details. You will see resources come from unfamiliar streams. You will watch burdens dissolve that once felt permanent. Relationships that once drained you will suddenly lose their grip. Even your thought patterns are being rewired to prepare you for the pace of what's coming. This is not a future event, it is an active miracle. Live again, child. Visit what you walked away from thinking it was over. Check the places where you stopped praying because you thought it was too late. The movement I've ordered has already infiltrated every area that felt loved. This is your moment to come into agreement with what heaven has already released. Not with worry, not with striving, but with expectancy. I am ushering in events that will overlap with such speed. It will feel like time itself is bending in your favor. And don't be surprised if old obstacles seem to vanish overnight. I'm not negotiating with the forces that fought you, I'm overturning them. I'm not making a deal with delay, I'm dethroning it. This is not about trying harder. It's about witnessing what happens when I take over the timeline. I am clearing out the residue of every battle that lingered too long. I'm resetting the clock, not back to what was, but forward into what always should have been. You won't need to chase signs, they'll begin chasing you. You'll overhear conversations that reveal answers to prayers you never shared with anyone. You'll notice solutions appearing before you can voice the problem. That's how divine movement works, it overtakes what human logic can't comprehend. And this isn't just about resolving the issues you face, this is about revealing the glory that's been buried beneath years of struggle. I am shifting not just situations, but seasons. What once demanded your energy will now respond to your authority. The ground is being tilled beneath you. The air around you is being stirred. The atmosphere is being rearranged to make room for the promise that is no longer approaching, it's arriving. You're not waiting on movement, movement is waiting on your recognition. Speak with the awareness that it's already happening. Walk as if the doors are open, because they are. I am doing something so swift and certain that you won't be able to attribute it to anything but my hand. And once you begin to step into the current of what I've initiated, you'll look back and realize nothing was wasted. Not one step, not one tear, not one delay. It was all setting the stage for this precise moment when what was once only imagined becomes the new reality, because I do my most miraculous work in places others consider finished. I step into scenes where the world has pronounced it's over, and declare, I'm just getting started. You looked at the wreckage of what fell apart and believed that nothing good could rise from it, but I specialize in foundations no one else sees value in. The rubble of your disappointments is the very soil I am cultivating for glory. When others walked away, thinking your journey was finished, I stayed beside you and began sketching the architecture of your redemption. I saw potential in the very space where you only saw pain. You assumed the shattered pieces of your life couldn't be used, but I see them as holy fragments. What was broken wasn't discarded, it was preserved. I'm not removing your history, I'm redeeming it. The very areas where shame tried to root itself are the places I'm transforming into testimonies. Your collapse is becoming my canvas. Where you reached your limit is where I release my limitless power. Do you realize that my greatest moves often begin with what others mislabel as ruin? Think of how often I've started with emptiness, dryness, even death, and turned it into movement, rain, and resurrection. You are standing in such a moment now. You thought it was a conclusion, but it's my construction site. Everything that collapsed, dreams, connections, confidence, certainty, none of it disqualified you. It brought you to the exact posture I needed, surrendered, humbled, open. This next phase of your life will not be built on illusion or pretense, it will be established on me alone. And because of that, nothing will be able to shake it. You had to come to the end of yourself so you would no longer limit your vision to what was familiar. You had to outgrow the old and be emptied of lesser things so I could fill you with purpose that carries eternal weight. I am laying a new framework in your spirit, one that can't be replicated or taken. Every time you thought, "This is it, I'm done," I was saying, "This is where I begin." Every dead end you reached was actually a divine route. And now, I am positioning you to rebuild not just a life, but a legacy. What I'm constructing within you will outlast seasons, storms, and struggles. I'm removing the debris of old narratives, lies you believed, and scars that tried to shape your identity. Your story isn't over, it's being rewritten with power. The chapter that nearly ended you will become the chapter that delivers others. You'll speak from a place of knowing, not guessing. You'll minister from survival turned strength. I'm giving you new language for your journey, no longer bound by phrases like almost or not enough. From now on, your mouth will release declarations rooted in authority. You'll no longer shrink in rooms where you used to doubt if you belong. The oil I've placed on your life was pressed from the very crushing you despised. And now, the anointing flowing from your brokenness will bring healing where others thought only despair could exist. You will rise not in bitterness but in brilliance. The same circumstances that tried to bury you are now testifying to your elevation. And this elevation isn't a reward for endurance, it's the inevitable result of staying connected to me when everything screamed to give up. I will make your ending a beginning so stunning that those who counted you out will marvel at the transformation. Don't wait for everything to make sense, just keep stepping with boldness. I am with you in this rebuild. And I'm not patching up your old life, I'm establishing something entirely new. You're not revisiting former blueprints, I'm unveiling divine architecture that was hidden until now. Your eyes are about to see what your faith refused to stop believing for. Keep walking, child, because the foundation has been laid, and now the framing begins, and as it rises, so will you, because the weight you've been carrying beneath the surface, the unspoken sorrow, the invisible pressure, the hidden ache that lingers when no one's watching is being shaken by my divine authority. This is not just a season of encouragement. This is a supernatural disruption of the very roots that tried to keep you buried. The pain you adapted to, the struggle you normalized, the despair you wore like armor, I'm breaking its hold right now. I didn't come to simply comfort you in your suffering, I came to confront it. You've endured long enough beneath the surface of survival. You've learned how to smile while carrying wounds. But I never created you to live in cycles of delay, suppression, or internal conflict. That sorrow tried to settle itself inside your identity, but I'm declaring a holy quake beneath everything that told you. This is just how life will be. You are not sentenced to suffering. You are not trapped in sorrow. What was meant to weigh you down is now the very place where I will anchor transformation. This hour had been set apart not by calendars or clocks, but by covenant. I chose this time because the soil of your soul is ready. You are no longer who you were when the pain first entered. It can no longer hold dominion over someone who has been refined through fire. And now, I'm removing the influence of what was trying to linger. You've made room for me in the tension, in the weariness, in the confusion, And because of that, I'm declaring war on the sorrow that overstayed its season. Every tear that has soaked the pillow, every sigh you tried to hide in conversation, every moment you swallowed grief because no one would understand, I'm reaching into all of it, and I'm shaking it loose. You will no longer be chained to events that happened behind closed doors. You will no longer be haunted by words that wounded more than they should have. I'm shaking the floor beneath your trauma, beneath your isolation, beneath the emotional scars that tried to embed themselves as normal. This isn't just healing, it's excavation. I'm digging deep and removing what was never planted by me. I'm confronting every lie that was whispered when you were most vulnerable. I'm exposing every root that was formed in moments of betrayal. And I'm doing it not to destroy you, but to free you from everything that convinced you to stay small, silent, or hidden. This is not a gentle breeze of relief, it is a divine earthquake of liberation. You will feel it in how your thoughts change without force. You will sense it when your energy returns without explanation. You'll notice it in how you breathe easier, speak braver, walk lighter. This shift isn't happening around you, it's happening within you. I'm not asking you to perform your way into breakthrough. I'm asking you to receive it. What you're feeling is not instability, it's me, rearranging everything beneath the surface. Let the discomfort come, it means the old weight is breaking off. Let the unfamiliar rise, it means you're stepping into new ground. You are not weak because you feel it deeply. You are strong because you've allowed me to enter where it hurts. And now, every place where pain tried to occupy permanent residence is becoming a place of purpose. I'm restoring your power, not with force, but with clarity. You'll know what to say, where to step, how to respond, because I'm making your spirit alert to what I'm building underneath the surface. The ground is no longer cursed, it's consecrated. The pain is no longer defining, it's dissolving. The patterns are no longer repeating, they are being rewritten. Stand still and listen. The ground beneath your old battles is no longer holding you hostage. I'm lifting you from it. I'm setting you on something I form myself. And every trembling of your heart is now responding to my touch, because this moment is not random. It is resurrection in motion. And what's about to rise from within you will testify louder than every tear you ever cried, because while you were surrounded by stillness, I was surrounding you with strategy. What looked like inactivity was a cover for what heaven was preparing behind the curtain. My silence was not absence, it was alignment. You assumed nothing was happening, but I was commanding movements in realms you couldn't see. While you were asking, "Where are you, Lord?" I was speaking to the winds, commissioning divine help, and organizing every unseen piece that would be needed for the next phase of your purpose. You couldn't hear me, but all of heaven could. I was summoning backup, assigning warrior angels to flank your path, dispatching messengers to deliver favor, and positioning protectors to stand guard over your destiny. This was not a delay. This was an operation. You were never alone. You only felt the quiet because I was too focused building a way forward that couldn't be sabotaged. And now, the silence you endured is about to break wide open with confirmations too specific to be coincidence. I had to work in the shadows so the enemy wouldn't intercept the details. I veiled the preparation season to protect the purity of what I was building in you. You had no idea the level of angelic traffic surrounding your life. But I was directing their flight. I was opening heavenly doors and sending answers into motion. I was writing divine orders, signed and sealed, to shift atmospheres in your favor. You couldn't hear the sound, but every second was thunderous in heaven. I've been orchestrating this moment since the very first time you said, "Lord, I still trust you." That sentence activated reinforcements. Your surrender summoned strategy. Your faith moved my heart into action, and I responded by calling forth what no human hand could offer you. The battles you didn't even realize were fought on your behalf, those were angelic assignments dispatched by my voice. When you were sleeping, they were standing watch. When you were doubting, they were clearing the fog. When you were exhausted, they were holding the line. You survived things that should have destroyed you because I placed guards where your eyes couldn't see. You kept standing, not because of your strength, but because of the supernatural shield I surrounded you with. I didn't need to explain every delay. I needed to preserve the integrity of what was coming next. And now, that next is here. The spiritual world has already shifted to accommodate what you're about to walk into. I've opened gates. I've turned the hearts of gatekeepers. I've made ways where there were none. And the angels I gathered are now on assignment, each one carrying a piece of your breakthrough. You will notice things being handed to you you never applied for. You will hear yeses in places you were told no before. You will find people drawn to bless you without understanding why. That's because heaven's activity is beginning to touch the earth around you. The invisible is becoming visible. What was being prepared in silence is now being revealed in waves. And those waves will come back to back, like a rhythm of restoration that refuses to slow down. You didn't miss your window, it's just opening wider now. You didn't lose your chance, it was only waiting on the angelic escort I've released for you. This isn't random favorites reward. You stayed when it felt like I was quiet. You waited when everything told you to give up. And now I'm responding, not just with words but with action. Watch what happens when spiritual help reaches natural ground. Things will move without your hand touching them. Conversations will change in your favor without your presence. That's the power of divine backing. You may not have seen what I gathered in the silence, but now you're about to walk in the evidence of every heavenly deployment I arranged, because the plans unfolding now have you woven directly into the heart of them, not as a background figure, not as a shadow in someone else's testimony, but as the one I've set in place to carry the next wave of impact. Others may have overlooked your presence, dismissed your value, or bypassed your voice, but I never stopped seeing what I placed within you. What they ignored, I nurtured. What they called ordinary, I prepared for something weighty. I never wrote you into my story to be a side note. I have made you a pillar, a chosen vessel to stand in the center of my divine release. You were not sidelined, you were shielded. What you thought was being excluded was divine positioning. I placed you where distractions couldn't dilute you, where pride couldn't poison you, and where the noise of others wouldn't confuse the clarity I was shaping inside your heart. You weren't being hidden in shame, but in sacredness. Every day you woke up and wondered why things were quiet, why nothing seemed to break open, why it felt like life kept passing you by. I was lifting you above the fray, placing a higher assignment within you. I never design lives to revolve around applause. I craft purpose in stillness and let it speak when the time is right. Now, the moment has arrived. I'm placing the light upon you, not to elevate ego but to magnify what I've refined behind closed doors. Your role is not small in this season, it's central. What I'm building next must pass through your obedience. Every seed I planted in your life is now ready to break the surface. The delay wasn't denial, it was depth. I went deeper with you than most would allow me to, so the fruit of your surrender could carry weight. You're not just included in this plan, you are essential to it. The ripple effect of your yes will reach further than you imagined. Doors will open not only for you but through you. Conversations you once only dreamed of having will soon be initiated in your direction. Invitations will come from unfamiliar places, and your name will rise in rooms you didn't even know existed. And when it happens, it will feel right, not rushed, not forced, but perfectly aligned. Here's a reason I've kept you from the spotlight until now. I was preserving the power of your arrival. I was protecting the oil that formed during your private struggles. The impact you carry isn't birthed from popularity, it's forged from purity. I've seen the way you continued when no one clapped. I've watched your prayers rise from quiet corners, and I stored every single one. You didn't lose momentum, you gained authority. And now, I am drawing the eyes of others toward what I've long seen in you. You will not have to announce yourself. I will announce what I've placed upon you. The atmosphere around you is shifting to accommodate the magnitude of what I've entrusted to you. You are stepping into territory that was reserved while others rushed ahead. And this time, nothing will block your entrance. No one can take the space I've designed for your feet. I didn't forget your sacrifice. I didn't overlook your integrity. I held your name close, waiting for the precise intersection of timing and preparation. And now, as I initiate this shift, you'll find that you're no longer fighting to be seen, you are being positioned to be heard. I have not only remembered you, I am placing your voice at the forefront of what will awaken hope in others. Get ready to move in circles that once felt unreachable. Watch the landscape change around you to fit the new authority you carry. I haven't changed my mind about you, I've only been waiting for this very moment to release what's been sealed until now. And as it begins, let this truth settle in your heart. You are not forgotten, you are the centerpiece of this divine unveiling, and what I'm setting into motion through you next will shake the very places that once tried to silence you. For what tried to break you was never random, it was attracted to the magnitude of what you carry. You weren't under attack because you were weak, but because something inside you threatened darkness. Persistence only gathers where destiny is present. Every time pressure increased, it wasn't a sign that you were doing something wrong. It was confirmation that you were being positioned for something sacred. There are places I'm taking you that required a deeper level of resilience, and that resilience could only be forged in adversity. A spiritual warfare wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The betrayal you endured, the misunderstandings, the long stretches of silence from those you thought would support you, all of it was permitted so I could teach you what couldn't be learned through comfort. I've been shaping you to carry responsibility without breaking. While others saw chaos, I saw capacity. You were growing while it looked like everything was falling apart. That heaviness wasn't a sign you were failing, it was the mark of someone carrying future influence. You've walked through situations that tried to make you question your identity, yet here you are, still standing, still open, still listening. That alone is victory. You don't need a platform to prove your growth. The pressure you survived is evidence enough. Every time you were tempted to quit but chose to continue, a new layer of strength was added. That strength didn't come from willpower, it came from being rooted in me when nothing else made sense. I let the pressure expose what you needed to let go of: fear, false attachments, outdated expectations. And though it hurt, it also refined you. You learned to discern motives, to set boundaries, to hear my voice above the noise. The very trials that once made you feel buried were actually sowing something deeper. Now that depth is producing boldness. You've grown too wise to be manipulated and too grounded to be shaken. You no longer seek approval from those who once misread your heart. This is the version of you I was shaping all along, not bitter, but bold, not hardened, but holy. Now, as the shift begins, don't resent the process that led here. That storm equipped you with sight beyond appearances. The ones who dismissed you didn't see what I saw. I chose you not despite your weakness, but through it. The enemy hoped the pressure would silence your voice. Instead, it sharpened it. He thought isolation would cause you to cave in. Instead, it became the womb for new revelation. He underestimated your endurance, not realizing you were being held up by grace that doesn't run out. You weren't delayed, you were being deepened. You weren't losing, you were being fortified. And now, as I begin opening what was once inaccessible, you'll understand why the battle was so fierce. Your presence in this next season is going to be disruptive to darkness. You'll walk into places and shift atmospheres without trying. Your words will carry weight because they come from wounds I've healed, not theories you've read. You'll lead with gentleness but speak with clarity. You'll love without losing yourself. And you'll operate with authority because your heart is rooted in surrender, not ambition. This is why the enemy fought you so intensely, not for who you were, but for who you were becoming. But it's too late now. You've emerged from the fire, and the evidence is all over your life. The very thing that tried to disqualify you has become the platform where I will display my glory through you. No more hiding. No more thinking. The weight of the promise I placed in you is being activated, and now that you've proven faithful under pressure, I'm releasing favor without resistance. Step into it boldly. Walk into the rooms I open without apologizing for the battles that shaped you. Let your scars speak. Let your growth shine. And don't second-guess the authority I've entrusted to you, for the shaking you survived was never meant to destroy you, but to uncover what I've planted deep within. And what's rising next will not be resisted, because what was once confusing, what felt like unanswered prayers, unexplained delays, and fragmented moments, everything is beginning to take shape in a way your spirit will recognize before your mind can explain. I am lifting the fog that lingered far too long over your perspective. You've wrestled with questions in the dark, asking me to show you what was really happening. You asked why certain doors closed, why some people exited without warning, why your efforts didn't produce the outcomes you hoped for. You stood in the middle of uncertainty with faith that wavered between hope and discouragement, and even in that struggle, I remained near. But now, the atmosphere around you is changing. You are entering a divine unveiling and awakening, not of your eyes, but of your spirit. I am not just revealing events, I'm revealing my hand in them. I'm opening layers of insight you weren't ready to carry before. You will begin to see what was hidden, and it will not bring pain, it will bring peace. You will understand why I allowed certain connections to dissolve, why I pulled you back when you were ready to launch, why I delayed answers when your desperation was rising. It wasn't neglect, it was my strategy protecting your destiny. I am giving you spiritual clarity, a lens that sees beyond the surface. Things that once tormented your thoughts will now align like pieces falling into place. What was once overwhelming will become order. Where there was noise, I'm establishing stillness. Where there was chaos, I'm now pouring understanding. I am not only clarifying your past, I am illuminating your path forward. Decisions that once left you paralyzed will now come with wisdom and confirmation. The haze is lifting not just from your mind, but from your entire atmosphere. Conversations will become clearer. Opportunities will be filtered through discernment, not desperation. You won't need to guess anymore. You won't have to beg for answers. They are already being released. I'm unfolding the map you didn't know you were following. And in this unveiling, you will find relief not just in knowing but in trusting. I'm showing you what your pain produced, what your silence cultivated, what your obedience set in motion. You'll look at past seasons and finally see purpose in them. What once felt like detours will be revealed as divine intersections. I never needed you to understand everything in order to move forward, I only needed you to stay near me. And because you stayed, even when it made no sense, I'm now rewarding that faith with clarity that restores your peace. I'm about to show you how what you thought was falling apart was actually falling into divine order. I'm about to reveal why I said no, when all you wanted was a yes. I'm about to bring you into rooms you once cried outside of, and as you step in, you'll realize I was preparing those very doors to receive you, not reject you. This isn't just about insight, it's about alignment. As the veil lifts, you will no longer wonder if you're in the right place, you'll know it. You'll feel the confirmation settle inside your soul like a weight being lifted. I'm not adding more pressure, I'm removing confusion. You've carried too many questions without answers for too long. You've carried burdens that were never yours to carry. But this moment marks a transition. You're stepping into a space where my voice will be unmistakable. You'll move with assurance, not hesitation. You'll speak with authority, not insecurity. What once puzzled you will now empower you. You'll teach from the lessons you didn't even realize you had learned while waiting. The storm that blurred your vision is passing. The clouds are parting. And what I'm about to reveal next won't require you to strain to see, it will be undeniable. You'll sense it in your bones. You'll recognize it in your spirit. And you'll know, without anyone needing to validate it, that I am the one who is making all things visible, and what comes into view next will be the confirmation you've waited for your entire life. For what's about to unfold in your life won't follow predictable steps or familiar sequences. I am not restricted by logic or limited by timelines designed by man. What I orchestrate doesn't need permission from systems or structures. While others are waiting on approvals, protocols, or the right conditions, I am writing a divine exception around your life that overrides the natural with the supernatural. Do not box in your expectations based on what's happened to others. Do not compare your path to statistics or trends. I am not using the usual routes to deliver what I've destined for you. The methods I choose are unconventional for a reason, to show you that no barrier can withstand my power, and no delay can hold back what I've ordained. You are not going to climb ladders built by men. I'm building a direct path that ascends beyond what anyone thought possible. You've been conditioned to look for step-by-step progress, but I'm bringing sudden shifts. I'm opening access where rules said it was closed. What's coming next won't make sense in human terms. The doors that swing open won't come from resumes, titles, or connections. They'll open at the sound of your obedience. I'm bypassing limitations that were set to discourage you. You thought you needed someone to speak on your behalf, but I'm speaking louder than any voice in the room. You assumed it would take years for change to happen, but I'm accelerating what would have taken decades into days. Don't shrink your faith to fit what looks possible. I'm doing something that defies process. I'm skipping steps not to rush you, but to reveal that I alone am the source of your breakthrough. People will look and ask, how did this happen? And the only answer will be, God intervened. You are about to walk into favor that has no explanation. Gavin will rhyme without paperwork. Healing will manifest without treatment. Restoration will spring up where ruin stood for years. I am not confined to what makes sense. My miracles are disruptive by design. They disturb cycles, interrupt norms, and break apart expectations. What's coming won't be found in a formula. I'm not following trends. I'm setting divine precedent through your life. Prepare to encounter resources in unexpected places. Prepare to be called into opportunities you didn't campaign for. Prepare for connections that don't require networking but are divinely arranged. There is nothing random about what I'm initiating. Everything has been aligned under heaven's instruction. While others wait for the perfect moment, I'm commanding the moment to respond to you. System said not yet, but I've already said now. You don't need the world's green light when heaven has already issued the release. Keep your heart open. Remain watchful. Listen closely. You're about to see me operate in ways you've never experienced. I'm not using old blueprints for this new beginning. It will feel unfamiliar at first, but that's how you'll know it's me. I don't need to replicate past victories. I'm doing something new, something unmatched. And while others try to analyze it, you'll be walking in it. I'm bypassing red tape, cutting through layers of resistance, and establishing you in places your name hasn't even been spoken yet. You're not climbing the ranks. I'm placing you where only my hand can reach. This is not about hustle. This is about heaven. I'm releasing it on my terms, in my way, at my pace. So don't panic when it doesn't follow the pattern. Don't fear when it doesn't look like anyone else's story. That's the confirmation it's different because it's divine. Stay ready for divine surprises. Stay grounded in trust even when it all happens faster than expected. You'll have peace even when the pace picks up. You'll feel calm in the midst of rapid change. That's how you'll know I'm steering it. No need to figure it out, just walk in it. What happens next won't be credited to effort or planning. It will be my unmistakable fingerprint upon your life, moving beyond what is usual, ushering in what is holy, and this new reality will be undeniable. Watch what unfolds. For what felt like affliction was not evidence of my displeasure. It was proof that I was placing you exactly where you needed to be for what's coming. You've questioned why the pressure kept intensifying, why certain seasons felt unending, why the path seemed steeper for you than for others. But what appeared to be struggle was actually the shaping of a vessel I could trust. I allowed resistance, not to harm you, but to deepen your roots. I knew what I was forming and you couldn't be developed in ease. I placed you in the middle of warfare because I needed your discernment to be sharp, your courage to be unshakable, and your connection to me unbreakable. The battle didn't define you, it revealed you. You were never being attacked as punishment. You were being trained in hidden places. Every fiery trial sharpened your focus. Every closed door taught you to hear my whisper. Every delay taught you to rely on my timing. You didn't just survive hardship, you were refined in it. I used the very opposition sent to break you as a tool to build what I had already written about you. I didn't explain everything while you were in it, because the training wasn't intellectual, it was spiritual. I wasn't trying to make it easy, I was making it effective. And now, You're standing in a place that couldn't be earned by shortcuts. You've gained something that can't be shaken, authority birthed in the storm. No one saw the long nights. No one heard the war cries that never left your lips. But I did. I was present in the heat of every unseen battle. And now, your scars are no longer sources of shame, they are markers of endurance. They testify that you passed through what others were broken by. They speak of the depth no one can imitate. You're not emerging from the battle the same, you're coming out elevated. Your posture has changed. You no longer crave what once distracted you. Your spirit has grown past needing constant signs. You now know how to recognize my presence even in silence. What once made you doubt now deepens your faith. This is positioning, not just promotion. I've aligned you for something greater than influence. I've aligned you for impact. You are not stepping into visibility to be seen. You're stepping forward to deliver what was formed in pain, strengthened in solitude, and tested in fire. You didn't just come through something, you would owe someone. Someone who knows how to war in prayer. Someone who knows how to wait in peace. Someone who knows how to speak with precision. This positioning isn't temporary, it's the beginning of a new realm of responsibility. I am sending you where others may not understand your journey, but they will be changed by your presence. You were never just meant to endure the storm, you were meant to walk out of it carrying what others need to survive their own. You are a carrier of answers, a vessel of strategy, a lighthouse for the weary. And none of it would have been possible without the very battle that tried to convince you to give up. Every hit you took was seen. Every tear you shed was recorded. Not one moment of your journey was wasted. It was all part of the placement. While others saw pain, I saw preparation. While others saw failure, I saw affirmation. And now that the training has produced fruit, I am ushering you into new rooms, new assignments, new alignments, this time not as a novice, but as a proven one. You will no longer question your readiness. You will no longer second-guess your value. The fire didn't burn you, it branded you for something sacred. The hardship didn't delay you, it anchored you in depths only I could access. And now, I'm unveiling what I hid for so long, not to impress anyone, but to ignite what I placed within you from the beginning. Walk in it. Own it. Move with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their steps have been ordered. This is not a breakthrough, it's the result of being positioned. And where I take you next will carry the echo of every battle you overcame, for not every battle came from what you could see. Some of the resistance was rooted in unseen realms, born out of whispers, assumptions, and silent schemes designed to sabotage you before your moment arrive. But nothing escapes my awareness. Even the words spoken behind your back, the plans arranged in hidden places, the intentions masked by politeness. I have been intercepting every assignment meant to stall your rise. You've walked into rooms where you felt discomfort without explanation. You sensed the weight of spiritual opposition even when everything on the surface looked normal. That wasn't your imagination, it was discernment. I allowed you to feel what you couldn't name, because I was alerting your spirit to the invisible structures being built against you. You didn't always know where it came from, but I did. And now, I'm dismantling every barrier crafted in darkness. The weapons formed were real, but they will not prosper. The conversations meant to twist your name, the motives masked in manipulation, the alliances forged to exclude you, I am scattering them. I am confusing the language of those who tried to rise against you. I am canceling every agreement made in shadows to stop your progress. What they built will collapse under the weight of its own deceit. This is not revenge, it's divine protection. I don't need to expose them to vindicate you. I will elevate you in such a way that their influence becomes irrelevant. Your name will rise without compromise. Your assignment will go forward without delay. I am shielding your reputation without requiring you to defend yourself. You wanted to confront, to explain, to make them see the truth. But I said wait, because I was working underneath it all. I've seen the jealousy that lingered behind their smiles. I felt the resistance that clung to opportunities you were qualified for but overlooked. I allowed the delay, not to hurt you, but to reroute you away from danger. And now I'm clearing the path in front of you, not just removing the visible blockages, but uprooting every hidden source of sabotage. I'm silencing voices that never spoke from love. I'm removing access from people who only wanted to benefit from your presence without honoring your purpose. I'm untying every soul tie, every spiritual chain, every unseen leash that was designed to keep you bound. This is a holy severing, and it's happening swiftly. You may notice people walking away without warning. You may feel shifts in relationships you once leaned on. That's not loss, it's me doing spiritual maintenance. I'm pruning connections that cannot walk into your next season. You don't need to chase explanations. I'm filtering your environment, protecting the oil I placed on you, and preserving the purity of your call. You don't even know how close certain plans came to succeeding, but I blocked them without you ever knowing. I sent confusion into enemy camps. I turned their efforts into dust. I allowed them to reveal themselves slowly so you'd have clarity when the shift came. And now that the veil is lifted, now that truth is rising, I'm handing you the keys to the doors they tried to keep shut. What was built against you in silence is being demolished in my presence. You will not have to beg for what I've assigned to you. The season of defending your worth is over. From this moment forward, I'm making it obvious who is for you and who is only nearby out of convenience. No more questioning loyalties. No more second-guessing support. I'm surrounding you with those who carry discernment, honor, and purity. Those who will build with you, not compete against you. Those who will celebrate your victories without shrinking in your light. Everything hidden is coming into the open, not to shame, but to separate. I'm cutting the cords that connected you to sabotage. I'm releasing clarity so sharp that no manipulation can cloud your decisions. And as I remove what was working against you, I'm simultaneously reinforcing what is meant to flourish around you. For they saw the outward version of you during your most vulnerable stages and assumed that was all there was. They mistook your silence for weakness, your patience for indecision, your humility for irrelevance. What they failed to see was what I hid intentionally: your depth, your anointing, your process. While they were busy measuring you against shallow standards, I was building a foundation within you so unshakable that no human rejection could uproot it. I allowed their perception to be clouded, not to hurt you, but to protect you from aligning too closely with people who couldn't carry the weight of your calling. They spoke too soon. They drew conclusions without ever asking me about the masterpiece in progress. You were never meant to fit into their limited expectations. You were designed for something that required time, breaking, and layers of surrender they couldn't recognize. They didn't see you praying through the night. They didn't see you wrestling through obedience. They didn't see how you kept showing up with faith even when all evidence told you to give up. And now, the season has arrived where I will make visible what I've been crafting in the secret places. This is not about proving them wrong, this is about proving me faithful. I will not expose them, I will elevate you. And in doing so, the difference will become undeniable. I will raise you without bitterness. I will bless you without boasting. Your restoration will be wrapped in such grace that even those who doubted you will be left in awe, unable to deny that my hand is upon your life. They called you unqualified, but I call you chosen. They ignored your voice, but I am now giving you the volume of influence that cannot be silenced. What was once dismissed as insignificant will now draw attention, not for attention's sake, but because it carries substance birthed through endurance. There will be moments ahead where you'll walk into environments that once rejected you and feel the atmosphere shift, not because of ego, but because of the authority that now rests on you. You will speak, and hearts will listen, not because you demand it, but because you carry revelation soaked in tears, fire, and obedience. Those who overlooked your value will witness the fruit of your unseen labor. They will hear your name spoken with honor in places they never imagined it would reach. And when they watch your influence rise, they will not be able to trace it to natural qualifications, they'll know it was me. I am making you a living testimony of what happens when someone stays faithful even when forgotten. When others scrambled for recognition, you remained still. When others fought for visibility, you chose me. That posture didn't go unnoticed. It positioned you for the kind of increase no platform could manufacture. What's coming cannot be blocked by human hands, nor can it be traced back to favor from man. I'm breathing on what you've built with quiet consistency, and the wind of my spirit will carry it farther than any connection ever could. Let your heart rest, knowing that the vindication doesn't require vengeance. I will make all things clear. I will allow fruit to speak louder than defense. You won't need to justify your journey or explain your silence. I will speak through your life louder than any accusation ever did. Your emergence will carry the fragrance of healing, not bitterness. The same people who said they'll never make it will be the ones who witness your influence bringing deliverance to others. They will watch you flourish in peace, in purpose, in power, and they will know it was never about being impressive. It was about being obedient. And obedience has positioned you for restoration that rewrites every false narrative spoken over your name. I am restoring not just what was lost, but what was never seen in you, your true worth, your heavenly identity, your divine assignment. And from this place of healing and wholeness, you will rise not with arrogance, but with clarity, because every time you assumed you had fallen too far, missed too much, or failed beyond repair, I was holding your future steady with hands that never let go. The setbacks didn't cancel your calling. The detours didn't erase your purpose. Even in moments when you doubted your ability to recover, I was never rethinking my plan for you. I knew exactly what I placed inside you long before the world tried to measure you by your missteps. I saw every breaking point not as an end, but as the furnace required to shape something extraordinary within you. What others might have labeled as failure, I used as formation. I allowed pressure not to crush you, but to bring to the surface what I buried deep in your design. You were being purified, not penalized. Through every challenge, I was removing the weight of insecurity. Through every trial, I was melting down the fear that tried to follow you. Through every storm, I was forging character that fame can't buy and applause can't sustain. This isn't a story of disqualification, it's one of refinement, of being molded by the very seasons that tried to convince you you weren't worthy. But you were. Not because of perfection, but because of surrender. I chose you knowing your weakness, and still, I've never changed my mind about using you. I saw past the surface and focused on the surrender within you. You kept going when it made no sense to continue. You remained open when trust was broken. You stayed teachable when pride tried to harden your heart. And now, what was refined in secret is about to be revealed in strength. You don't need to apologize for the time it took. Every moment served a divine purpose. You learned wisdom that books could never teach. You developed compassion that only the valley could shape. You carry a softness that didn't come from comfort but from knowing what it means to be wounded and still believe. That's what I was building, someone who carries not just talent but testimony. Not just vision but virtue. You've come out with a deeper fire, a clear voice, and a stronger heart. You are not second best. You are not the leftover option. You are not late, you are right on time for what I have aligned. The ground doesn't go to the quickest, but to the faithful. And you, my child, have stayed the course. Not perfectly, but persistently. That's what I honor. That's what I reward. I have watched you grow quietly while others advanced visibly. I saw your private sacrifices, your quiet choices to stay in my will when compromise seemed easier. And while the world may have skipped over your process, I have been writing every step into the story I'm about to unfold through you. You were never disqualified. You were protected from starting too early, from being elevated before you were grounded. Now, the version of you that emerges from this process will carry influence not easily shaken. You will move with authority, not arrogance. You'll speak with clarity, not confusion. You'll stand, not for approval but from assignment. What's coming next is not a reset, it's a rise. I am placing you in positions of purpose that match the growth you've embraced. Doors will open not just because it's your time, but because you're finally ready to walk through them with confidence and character. Let go of the shame. Release the guilt. There is nothing broken in you that I have not already begun healing. And that healing is making space for favor, for expansion, for divine partnerships. What once made you question your worth will now be the very area where others find strength through your voice. The refining wasn't punishment, it was preparation for leadership that doesn't waver in storms. You'll lift others not from theory, but from lived experience. You'll walk in rooms with the quiet confidence of someone who knows what it took to stand again. And through it all, I'll be with you, unveiling what I've long preserved for such a time as this. You're stepping into fullness not by accident, but by the fire you've endured. And what I'm about to do next through you will bear the unmistakable mark of endurance turned into evidence, for without your knowledge, words were released into the atmosphere with the intention to limit, distort, and confine you. Judgments were whispered behind your back. Labels were placed on you that did not reflect who you are in me. Agreements were made in spiritual realms to try and bind your progress, delay your rise, and cloud your identity. But I heard every utterance. I felt every arrow that flew toward you, even the ones disguised as concern or advice. And I've drawn a line around your life, no more unauthorized access. Every agreement that was made against you in ignorance or evil is now being nullified. You don't need to fight with your own words. I am the one who is speaking louder. The curses intended to follow your bloodline are breaking with you. Cycles that tried to continue through generations will find no foothold here. I am stepping into every shadowy word ever attached to your identity and removing its permission to operate. Even the silent vows you made in moments of pain when you said things like, "Maybe I'm not enough," or "Maybe I'll never get it right," I'm lifting those lies from your spirit. I'm untangling every knot of confusion that tried to take root through language not aligned with my truth. What was said about you does not define you. What was believed about you does not limit you. Only my voice carries the final authority. I have renamed you in heaven, and now I'm aligning that heavenly name with everything around you on earth. You are not stuck under the weight of someone else's projections. You are not a prisoner of spoken curses. I am rewriting the narrative. Every time you were called too much or not enough, every word meant to diminish your fire, every phrase designed to plant doubt in your potential, I am erasing them. They have no standing in my court. I am silencing the impact of every word that tried to delay your confidence. Some words hit you when you were too young to defend yourself, and you carried them like chains, thinking they were truth. Others came when you were vulnerable, spoken by those you trusted, and the sting left a residue. But I am cleansing the residue now. I am cutting off the weight of those sentences. You don't need to carry the burden of misnaming any longer. You will not answer to what I never called you. You will not walk in the shadow of what others projected onto you. My truth is becoming louder than every lie. You will feel the shift. Your internal language is changing. You'll begin to speak over yourself with new authority, not repeating their doubts, but declaring my promises. The atmosphere around your name is being cleared. Where there was confusion, now there is clarity. Where there was mockery, now there is honor. Where there was accusation, now there is divine validation. I am not only breaking the curses, I am replacing them with prophetic decrees. I am releasing words over you that build, not break. Words that align with destiny, not destruction. Words that launch, not limit. And you will begin to see the effects ripple across every area of your life. People who once judged you will be stunned by the peace you now carry. Environments that once rejected you will not be able to deny the favor that follows you. This transformation isn't for applause, it's for assignment. I am doing this not to impress man, but to preserve what I am releasing through you. I am fiercely protecting the identity I breathed into you before the foundations of the world. You are not cursed. You are not contaminated. You are not forgotten. You are walking under a new declaration, one that cannot be revoked, reversed, or rewritten by human tongues. Stand tall. Speak boldly. Move forward as someone no longer carrying the burden of words never meant for your spirit. What I've spoken over your life carries eternal weight, and nothing spoken against you will ever outpower what I've already said. For there were places in your heart, your thoughts, even your body, where exhaustion settled so deeply that it started to feel like part of who you were. You adapted to weakness, because you didn't know strength can still rise in those areas. But I've been watching, not as a distant observer, but as the one who intimately understands the weight of what you've carried. I've seen how you tried to push forward while silently drained. I noticed when you smiled while internally empty. You tried to remain faithful, even as your energy dwindled, your motivation faded, and your hope dimmed. You whispered prayers without words because you didn't even have the strength to ask. And still, you stayed connected to me. That connection, even when fragile, became the opening through which I am now pouring supernatural renewal. This isn't willpower. This isn't adrenaline. This is power that originates from heaven, sent directly into the dry, worn-out places of your soul. I am releasing strength that does not come from striving but from surrender. You are about to feel a surge within you, not a temporary push, but a permanent strengthening. I am targeting the specific areas where you've been most worn down. That battle you kept facing internally, the one no one saw, I'm fortifying you right there. That area where your confidence kept slipping, I'm rebuilding it from the inside. I'm not just encouraging you, I'm equipping you. Where fear used to grip your chest, I'm placing boldness. Where doubt whispered confusion, I'm establishing unwavering conviction. Where weariness tried to settle, I'm breathing fresh fire. And this isn't a momentary touch, it's a divine infilling. You will notice your words begin to carry power again. Your decisions will flow from clarity, not fatigue. The things that once overwhelmed you will begin to feel small. I am renewing not just your spirit, but your physical body too. Fatigue that once sat like a heavy cloud is being lifted. Sleeplessness is being replaced with deep rest. I'm not asking you to keep pushing, I'm calling you to rise in strength that doesn't come from effort but from intimacy with me. You've done well to endure. But now, I'm shifting you from survival to supernatural stamina. You will begin to walk with ease in areas that once took everything out of you. I'm not just helping you recover what was lost, I'm giving you more than you had before the weakness ever came. The moments where you said, "I can't do this anymore," are the exact moments I marked for renewal. I never needed your perfection. I waited for your honesty. And now that you've reached that point, my response is not shame, it's supply. I am sending strength that flows through your thoughts, your emotions, your body, your assignment. You are going to wake up and realize the heaviness you carried for so long is simply gone. Not because the world changed, but because I changed the weight you carry. You'll no longer be drained by the same situations. You'll face familiar circumstances with unfamiliar courage. Your inner well is being refilled not by effort but by encounter. Take close to me in this moment. Let me do what only I can. You don't need to pretend to be strong, I am your strength. You don't need to figure it all out, I've already gone ahead. What I'm giving you cannot be earned. It must be received. And as you receive it, you'll find that things begin to shift quickly. Procrastination will lose its grip. Clarity will sharpen. Purpose will feel lighter. What once felt like climbing a mountain will now feel like walking a prepared path. You'll carry others, not from depletion, but from overflow. This is what it means to be empowered by me. This is what it feels like when your weakness becomes the exact location of my divine strength. You won't burn out, you will burn bright. You won't break, you will become unshakable. And from this new foundation, I will lead you into things you once thought were impossible. For all those nights when your heart whispered what your lips were too tired to say, those longings were never ignored. I heard them the moment they rose within you, and I never dismissed a single one. Even the requests you thought were too bold, too specific, too delayed, I've kept them before me. Not one plea has fallen to the ground. I've been holding them in the chambers of promise, waiting for the appointed moment to place the answer directly into your hands. And now, that moment is coming into view. You are standing on the edge of divine access. What you believed was locked hath been unlocked. Not through striving, not through earning, but through remaining. You continued to seek me even when answers seemed far away. You continued to trust my heart even when my hand felt silent. I saw your faith hold steady through days of silence and nights of surrender. I watched as you adjusted your expectations not to settle, but to stay aligned with my timing. I'm not rewarding you with leftovers, I'm releasing what I've specifically designed with you in mind. You thought maybe I changed my mind. You wondered if the door you prayed for had closed forever. But I never denied your request, I just had to prepare the road that would lead you to it. There were layers I needed to strengthen in you so the answer wouldn't become a burden. You're not stepping into a wish, you're stepping into a fulfillment that fits. What I'm opening now is not random. It carries your name. It was assigned to your destiny before you even knew how to ask. There were moments when you wept out of frustration, wondering why others seemed to receive what you were still waiting on. But I wasn't comparing stories, I was completing yours. And now, access is being granted. You'll feel it in the way conversations shift. You'll see it in how hearts open. You'll notice it in the opportunities that begin to locate you without your pursuit. You've knocked long enough, now the door is opening. This access isn't limited. It's not partial. I'm giving you the full measure of what I promised. You won't have to beg. You won't need to manipulate. You won't need to convince anyone of your value. I've already spoken on your behalf. I've already made space for you. What you prayed for is about to meet you face to face. And it will come with peace. It will come with confirmation. It will come with a knowing that this is what your spirit waited for. You'll remember the moments you almost walked away, and you'll weep not from sorrow, but from the weight of my faithfulness. Access is being granted to healing you thought was out of reach, to relationships you thought were impossible to restore, to resources that seemed too far beyond your capacity. I'm giving you entry into rooms where favor flows, into assignments that align with your design, into provision that doesn't come with pressure. I'm handing you the keys, not just to answered prayers, but to places of legacy. This is more than fulfillment, it's inheritance. You prayed for relief, and I'm giving you release. You asked for open doors, and I'm giving you territory. This is not the time to shrink back. It's the moment to walk forward with quiet boldness, knowing you are walking into what I offered. The very thing you whispered through tears, the very thing you journaled in private, the very dream you nearly buried, I'm resurrecting it and placing it in front of you. And you'll know it's me. There will be no confusion. No strings attached. No weight of performance. Just peace. Just clarity. Just doors that swing wide without struggle. This access is not just for you, it's for the generations that will follow. I am giving it to you so that others will learn to ask, wait, and trust. And as you step in, know this: you were never denied, you were being reserved. And what I've held for you until now is arriving right on time, because there was never a moment when your life went unnoticed, only moments where I covered you intentionally. While you watched others be celebrated, elevated, and invited forward, you remained in the quiet spaces where it felt like no one saw you. But I did. I wasn't withholding recognition to punish you, I was preserving something holy. What I placed in you required isolation, not exposure. You carried something rare, and rare things are not paraded before they are protected. I sheltered your progress, not to stunt you, but to grow you in the safety of stillness. I allowed silence so that you could hear me without interference. I pulled you back, not because you were unworthy of the spotlight, but because the spotlight wasn't worthy of you yet. There were conversations you weren't invited into, platforms you weren't placed on, opportunities that passed by you not by accident, but by design. I was guarding your process. I was cultivating something within you that needed time, trust, and total dependence on me. I was teaching you the sound of my voice above the noise of public applause. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being forged. You thought you were invisible, but you were being refined. A wilderness didn't waste your time, it transformed your nature. It burned away pride. It exposed false motivations. It awakened parts of your purpose that couldn't survive in crowded spaces. While others rushed to be seen, I was shaping your capacity to carry the unseen. The foundation I laid in your hidden season is what will now sustain what I'm about to reveal through you. You were not being delayed, you were being deepened. I planted revelation in you that will now bloom in full maturity. I wrote wisdom into your spirit that others will draw from in their time of need. You'll begin to notice how your words carry more weight than ever before, how your presence settles chaos without effort, how your counsel restores what others thought was lost. That is the fruit of your hidden years. What you thought was being overlooked was actually being protected for maximum impact. I did not allow you to bloom prematurely. I allowed your roots to grow first so deep that no storm can shake you now. You know the pain of being unseen, and that pain has turned to power. You'll lead with humility because you were never driven by fame. You'll serve with compassion because you know what it feels like to be invisible. You'll walk with authority because you've spent time with me in secret, and that encounter has branded your soul. I am bringing you out now not as the person they remember, but as the one I've refined in fire. You are not who you used to be. You shed old identities. You buried false expectations. And now, you are emerging fully formed, wholly mine, unshaken by what the world thinks or says. You don't need to announce yourself. I will do that for you. I'm releasing divine appointments, sudden connections, doors that require no effort to open, only readiness to walk through. What comes next will not confuse you. It will feel familiar because I've been preparing you for it in every silent moment. You will move with ease, not because it's easy, but because you're equipped. You will be trusted with weightier responsibilities because your character has been proven in private. Others will wonder where you came from, but I'll know. You came from my hands. You were hidden in my presence. You were built in the quiet. And now, the time has come for what I shaped to be revealed. You won't be revealed for attention. You'll be revealed for purpose. You won't rise for applause. You'll rise because I said it's time. And as you step forward, remember, it was never about being seen by many. It was always about being formed by me. The covering is lifting, and what I'm unveiling next will reflect the beauty of what was hidden for so long, for you thought there was still a long road ahead, filled with slow progress and countless steps to finally see the outcome you've prayed for. But what you didn't realize is that I'm not limited to the calendar you measure by. I do not need time, I use it. And now, I'm interrupting natural patterns and accelerating processes that would have taken others a decade to complete. The time you feel you lost is not lost to me, it's being redeemed. I'm collapsing delays and pulling your promise into the present. You've waited patiently, thinking you were far behind, but you were actually positioned for a divine acceleration that is now unfolding. This isn't rushing. This isn't skipping lessons. This is me stepping in and collapsing barriers that served no purpose but to distract and discourage. I'm moving you from preparation into manifestation with a suddenness that will leave even you speechless. Don't be surprised when you're invited into places you never planned for. Don't hesitate when doors swing open before you've had time to knock. The groundwork was being laid while you slept. The behind-the-scenes work has already been done. I've been aligning conversations, decisions, and people, setting things in motion that will now arrive in quick succession. What once seemed distant will suddenly be at your doorstep. I'm collapsing what you thought had to unfold gradually and causing it to come forth in full bloom, out of season, because I am the one who commands the harvest. There are blessings prepared for you that had been held in reserve, waiting for this exact moment of release. They were not denied, they were preserved for the time when you could carry them without being crushed by their weight. And now that I see the maturity in you, the stability, the humility, I am fast-tracking what was once delayed. You'll begin to notice how things that used to take effort now fall into place naturally. You'll move into relationships that feel immediately aligned, without the usual friction or confusion. The heaviness you once felt at every new beginning will be replaced with flow and clarity. I am removing unnecessary steps and delivering outcomes that no man can take credit for. This speed is not the result of striving, it's the evidence of divine movement. Others will say, how did this happen so quickly? and you'll only be able to answer, God, move. I am making up for the time you spent in the valley, for the years you remained faithful with little, for the seasons where it felt like nothing was working. I never forgot your consistency. I never ignored your faithfulness. Now I am honoring it with results that outpace expectation. What took others long to build, I am placing into your hands in moments, not as a shortcut, but as a divine reward. I am skipping man-made systems and taking you straight to the outcome I always had in mind. But you must be ready. Be alert, because acceleration requires awareness. What shows up next will not come with lengthy explanations, it will require quick obedience. When the invitation comes, move. When the opportunity appears, say yes. When the shift happens, step in. You will not have time to second guess. You will sense the urgency, the clarity, the peace that confirms this is me. Do not wait for everyone's approval. Do not look around for consensus. I am the one advancing you, and my pace will not be matched by the slow expectations of others. You are not moving too fast, you are moving in sync with heaven's rhythm. I am stretching days into what used to take months. I am multiplying the results of your obedience. What you thought would require a long climb will now feel like a sudden elevation. But stay rooted. Keep your heart grounded in me, because this speed is not about status, it's about impact. I am lifting you quickly so you can release what I've deposited into you. This isn't about arriving, it's about releasing. You are stepping into the multiplied moment, and from here forward, what once crawled will begin to run. For there will be a transformation so quick, so undeniable, that even those closest to you won't fully grasp how everything began to change in an instant. You'll feel it first in the atmosphere around you, how what used to resist now yields, how what felt blocked begins to break open. People will observe the shift and wonder how you move from obscurity to overflow, from waiting to walking in fullness. They will try to connect the dots through natural logic, but it won't align with anything they've seen before. That's because what's happening is supernatural, beyond timelines and strategies, beyond qualifications or networks. I am the one offering this shift, and it does not come with an explanation, it comes with evidence. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify your rise. You don't owe anyone a step-by-step of how you arrived where you're going. I didn't ask them for permission, and I don't need their understanding to move you forward. I'm not doing this in secret anymore. I'm doing it visibly so my hand will be recognized, not yours. And though they may whisper, wonder, and even question your sudden elevation, they will not be able to deny my favor. This is a shift that cannot be traced back to effort, luck, or human influence. It can only be traced to obedience. While they were busy looking at outward metrics, I was watching your heart, weighing your motives, seeing the way you held onto me when no one else was watching. And now, I am breathing on your life in such a way that even your posture will change. You'll walk with authority, not arrogance. You'll speak with peace, not pride. I'm not giving you more so you can boast, I'm giving you more so you can carry what others need. And yes, some will misunderstand your progress. Some will assume you've changed. And you have. But not in the way they think. You've outgrown what used to hold you down. You step out of the version of yourself that needed validation. You've entered the season where you're no longer seeking approval from voices I never sent. They may not understand how quickly your season turned, but they weren't present for the stretching, the breaking, the pruning. They didn't feel the nights when you begged me for direction. They didn't see the tears you cried in silence. They weren't there when you chose me over comfort, when you laid down your plans for my will. This shift is the harvest of that surrender. And though it confuses others, it's clear to me. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them ask. I'll use your story to spark their awakening. Not through arguments, but through demonstration. They'll see what happens when a life is laid down, when a heart says yes to me over and over again, even when the cost was high. I will not just lift you, I will anchor you in this new elevation. Your character will remain firm while your surroundings change rapidly. You won't become what you escape. You'll remain steady, gentle, generous, and aware of the assignment you now carry. I will keep you grounded while raising you higher. And you will know it's me, because you won't feel anxious, you'll feel aligned. You won't need to force doors, they'll be waiting open. You won't feel rushed, you'll feel released. The suddenness of this shift will not overwhelm you, because I've already prepared you internally. Now the outside will begin to match what I've done on the inside. Those who couldn't see it before will begin to recognize the weight you carry. Not all will understand, but the right ones will honor it. And you'll learn to walk peacefully among those who question without becoming defensive or small. Let me vindicate you with transformation. Let me validate your yes with results no one expected. And when they ask how it all happened, you'll simply say, I waited on God. This sudden shift will be undeniable, and it will bear my fingerprints in every detail, for the seasons where your voice felt stilled, where your words never made it past the ceiling, where you were surrounded by noise yet unheard, those were not wasted moments. That silence held a language that only I could interpret. Every tear, every sigh, every inner groan that never made it into speech was recorded in my presence. You may have felt muted, overlooked, or emotionally numb at times, unsure if your prayers had any weight, but I was leaning in closer. When others only responded to your strength, I was sitting with your quiet weakness. The silence you carried became the sacred space where I rewrote your identity, not as the world labeled you, but as I created you. Now I'm breathing melody into the very places where your voice once trembled. I'm giving rhythm to your healing, harmony to your scars, and lyrics to your freedom. Where your voice once felt buried under the heaviness of pain, I'm resurrecting it with purpose. You are not voiceless, you were being prepared to carry a sound that carries power. A sound that doesn't echo sorrow but announces release. You will no longer whisper from places of fear. You will declare from places of freedom. And what flows from you next will not be rehearsed, but revelatory. You will speak from overflow, not effort. I'm removing the grip of shame that once held your tongue. I'm loosening the cords that fear tried to tie around your calling. What once silenced you will now be the stage from which deliverance flows, not only for you, but for those still stuck where you once were. I'm filling your voice with authority born from authenticity. You won't need to raise it to be heard. What comes from you will carry the weight of heaven's endorsement. I will use your story, your song, your sound to break chains others didn't even know they were wearing. You'll begin to speak and see walls fall. You'll begin to pray and feel atmospheres shift. What was once stifled is now being stirred. What was once dormant is now awakening. You are not being given a voice to draw attention, you are being given a voice to lead captives out of hiding. Every silent season has been transformed into a source of strength. The time you spent wondering why no one understood is turning into wisdom that will unlock understanding for others. Your testimony isn't a string of sad memories, it is a sound of victory waiting to be released. You are a carrier of psalms that don't originate from the stage, but from the secret place. Psalms that carry healing, words that break open hearts, declarations that stir courage. You will speak to those in despair and see light return to their eyes. You will speak into confusion and bring clarity. Not from head knowledge, but from first-hand encounters with me in the silence. And I will back your voice with signs. What comes from your mouth will be matched by my movement. Heaven will follow the sound of your obedience. You've waited for a long time to feel heard, but now I'm turning you into a voice that others will wait to hear. You are not background, you are anointed. You are not forgotten, you are commissioned. And this commissioning is not dependent on how loud you are, but how surrendered your silence has been. Let me turn your pauses into proclamations. Let me use what once broke you to now break chains. The anointing I'm pouring over your words will not resemble anything you've carried before. This is not performance. This is pure flow. What rises out of your mouth will be drenched in the oil of every private battle you've walked through. You won't speak for validation, you'll speak from transformation. And as your voice rises, don't hold back. Let the sound flow. Let the melody rise. For I am turning the very silence that tried to suffocate you into an anthem of freedom, and the sound that comes next will echo far beyond your reach, for you've carried questions too heavy to speak aloud. You stared at the ceiling in the darkness, trying to piece together shattered timelines, asking me in your heart, why did that happen? Why didn't it work out? Why did it have to hurt like that? And though you never received the immediate answers, you never stopped bringing those questions to me. You thought you were wrestling alone, but I was sitting beside you the entire time, silent only because I was shaping your understanding for the moment that's now arriving. What felt like confusion is about to become clarity. What seemed like chaos is being revealed as divine structure. I never ignored your questions. I preserved the answers until your heart could carry them with the weight of grace, not grief. The dots that never connected will begin to align like stars into constellations. And as the picture unfolds, you'll realize I was never withholding. I was waiting for you to be ready to see what I've always known. You weren't abandoned, you were being anchored. You weren't lost, you were being led. The closed chapters were not empty, they were essential. And now, I'm allowing you to see through a lens no longer fogged by fear or disappointment. The pain that once screamed louder than my promises is now quieting, and the truth is beginning to speak clearly. You will realize that what you thought with punishment was actually preservation. I blocked paths that would have broken you. I allowed certain dreams to dissolve because I had something far greater to deliver. Even the betrayals that kept you up at night, the ones that made you question your worth, were moments I used to reroute your life around danger. I didn't enjoy your tears, but I did bottle each one. They are sacred to me. And now, they are turning into revelation. I'm opening your understanding so that the heaviness of confusion can lift from your chest. I'm showing you that none of it was random. The disappointments, the pauses, the things you grieved in silence, they were all part of a bigger picture I've been painting patiently. You'll remember those long nights, but you won't revisit the pain in the same way. Now, you'll see purpose where there used to be only ache. You'll remember the questions, but this time, they'll be accompanied by answers that heal instead of haunt. I will begin to illuminate those once dim spaces of your memory and bring you into peace that surpasses your need to know every detail. Some answers will come not in words, but in the unfolding of your next season. You'll walk into rooms you were once excluded from and realize why I kept you hidden. You'll embrace roles that once seemed impossible and suddenly understand the long wait. You'll step into relationships that carry safety and alignment, and it will finally make sense why others had to walk away. The very things you stayed up praying about will now begin to manifest before your eyes. And when they do, there will be no more confusion, only confirmation. I'm redeeming every sleepless night. I'm turning your silent weeping into psalms of wisdom. I'm transforming your restless thoughts into declarations of peace. This unveiling would come as a flood of information. It will come as a flow of inner knowing. You'll start to feel the why behind every what. You'll begin to recognize the gold that came out of the furnace. You'll find strength in the story you once avoided telling. The clarity you've longed for is now coming gently, steadily, and with it will come healing in layers you didn't know still needed to be touched. You were not wrong to keep hoping. You were not naive to keep trusting. Your faith wasn't wasted, it was preparing the ground for the truth that is now being unveiled. Watch how things begin to unfold around you in a way that speaks directly to the very things that once kept you up at night. I am not only answering, you are becoming the answer. And as this revelation pours into your heart, one layer at a time, it will no longer be mystery, it will be memory redeemed. Because every tangled moment, every misstep you thought ruined everything, every unexpected turn that made you feel like life had spiraled beyond recovery, I was present in all of it. Even when you could only see fragments, I was working through the gaps. You tried to force understanding while standing in the middle of confusion, not realizing I was carefully shaping what looked like disorder into something breathtakingly precise. You saw mess, I saw a map. You saw collapse, I saw a clearing. My presence has always moved in ways that defy logic, because I do not build with what makes sense to man. I build with what aligns with heaven. What appeared unplanned with divinely layered with instruction, with purpose, with preparation. You cried over moments that I now reveal were transition points, not breakdowns, but breakthroughs in disguise. I never left your side when things fell apart. I stepped closer, guiding you around what would have crushed you if I hadn't intervened. You thought I wasn't moving because you didn't see outward progress, but I was restructuring everything at the root. And now, I am turning the page. You'll begin to see how even the smallest moments were laced with my fingerprints. That canceled appointment, that missed flight, that delayed conversation. Each of them redirected you toward a better outcome you never could have predicted. You'll begin to look back with fresh eyes, and what once made you question me will make you praise me. I'm not only restoring what you lost, I'm revealing why you couldn't keep it. I'm showing you how I used what the enemy intended for distraction to become a doorway into deeper intimacy with me. The areas of your life where confusion reigned will now radiate with clarity. I'm untangling the memories you locked away because they carried too much weight. I'm bringing peace to the very thoughts that once made your chest tighten. This is not selective healing, it's total transformation. You are going to walk into rooms and feel grounded instead of guarded. You are going to wake up with excitement instead of anxiety. Your soul is entering alignment with what I have declared over your life, and the chaos is losing its power. It was never in control. It was loud, yes, but not sovereign. Only I carry that authority. And now, I'm demonstrating it in a new way. There will be moments ahead when someone asks you, "How did you stay so calm through all of that?" And you'll answer, "I didn't, he carried me." You'll begin to laugh in places where you used to tremble. You'll breathe deeply where once you held your breath in fear. I'm reversing the residue of every whirlwind you endured. Even your body will feel the difference. You'll notice how the tension you held for years is dissolving. How your reactions no longer come from a place of survival, but from trust. It's what I've been doing all along, teaching your soul to trust what your eyes couldn't yet see. And now that your spirit is catching up to my movement, the storms that once shook you will no longer define you. I'm turning that chaos into testimony, that confusion into clarity, that torment into triumph. Your story is becoming a message that others will draw strength from. You didn't survive by chance, you endured by design. I orchestrated your steps even when you didn't know where they were leading. You were never wandering, you were being routed. The dust is settling, and as it clears, you'll see the full picture. You'll see how the detours were divine, how the endings were entrances, how the delays were deliverance. And as you begin to live in this new awareness, nothing will be wasted, not the tears, not the waiting, not the questions. All of it will be redeemed. The puzzle is coming together, and it will be evident that I was in the middle of every moment you thought was working against you, for you carried the weight of invisible wounds, deep places that never bled in front of others but left you aching beneath the surface. You learned to function while fractured, to smile while silently shattered, to lead while limping. And still, no one saw the internal cracks. No one asked about the quiet battles. They celebrated your strength, but never discerned your struggle. But I did. I was present in the depths of what no one could see. I was there when the pain took root, in the moments that didn't look traumatic to others, but tore something sacred inside of you. I heard the thoughts you couldn't bring yourself to say out loud, the questions buried so deeply that even you stopped visiting them. You were not being dramatic. You were deeply wounded. And while others moved on, I stayed with you. I never rushed your healing. I didn't ask you to pretend. I simply waited until the moment you stopped covering it up and let me touch it. And now, that moment has arrived. I am reaching into places you've long believed were too scarred to feel anything again. Not to rip them open, but to restore them fully. My healing doesn't just soothe the surface, it travels all the way to the origin of the pain and rewrites the outcome. The experiences that shaped your inner silence are being rewritten with peace. The memories that used to trigger shame are being flooded with light. What once made your chest tighten will soon bring no reaction at all. I'm not erasing your story, I'm transforming how it lives inside of you. The ache that once echoed in your alone time is being silenced by my presence. And I'm doing it in a way no human hand could reach. This is healing from within, layer by layer, breath by breath, until what was once broken no longer defines how you see yourself. You're not too far gone. You're not too damaged. What was fractured is being sealed by divine hands. You may not feel it all at once, but you'll begin to notice a shift. A new stillness when you remember what used to make your heart race. A new clarity where confusion used to live. A new grace for yourself in the places you once punished. This is not coping, it's complete healing. And it's not coming from others, it's flowing directly from me. You were never invisible to me. Your tears didn't disappear in the dark. They landed on holy ground. And I gathered each one, not out of pity but as seeds. And now, I'm turning them into fruit, strength you didn't know you had, gentleness you couldn't fake, resilience born not from survival, but from wholeness. You're going to stand in front of people who wounded you, and you won't flinch. Not because you forgot, but because you're free. You'll hear the same words that once triggered panic and feel peace instead. This is the power of my touch, it restores what life tried to rewrite. You don't need anyone else to validate your pain for me to heal it. You don't need their apology to be released. I'm doing it now, quietly, personally, supernaturally. I'm walking through the rooms of your inner world, turning on lights where shadows used to rule. And where you used to feel hollow, I'm pouring fullness. You'll sleep without nightmares. You'll speak without fear of rejection. You'll breathe without bracing for another hit. The version of you that was always on guard is retiring. The true you, the one I designed before pain rewrote the script, is re-emerging. Not timid. Not bitter. Oh, you won't need to explain the change. You will be visible. Your presence will carry healing because it was born out of healing. Others will encounter your peace and not know why it steadies them. But you will know. You'll know what it cost. You'll know where it came from. And you will point them to the one who reached where no one else could. His healing won't be loud. It will be complete. And from this healed place, I will begin to release what could only flow from someone who knows what it's like to be broken and then made new. For there is someone I have been preparing quietly in the background, someone whose life, purpose, and journey were being shaped to align with the very need you've been praying over. You don't know their name yet. You haven't seen their face. But their path has already begun moving in your direction. I am the one who orders connections, and this next connection will come through coincidence or convenience. It will come through divine orchestration. You've encountered many people who were lessons, a few who were distractions, and some who were simply not equipped to walk beside you into where I'm taking you. But this one I'm sending is different. They won't come to take from you. They're being sent to walk with you. They will not bring confusion, they will bring clarity. They will not carry hidden agendas, they will carry answers. What they speak will resonate, not because it's clever, but because it's timely. Their presence will not provoke your insecurities, it will speak to your identity. I am sending someone who is aligned with the assignment I've placed over your life. Not to replace me, but to confirm what I've already whispered. They will understand your language without you needing to explain. They will recognize your spirit without needing proof. And they'll carry something you didn't even know you were waiting for. This isn't just about friendship, mentorship, or partnership, this is about destiny alignment. I am bringing someone who carries what unlocks your next season. They've walked through their own fire, just like you. They've been refined through trial, just like you. And now, I am causing your paths to collide not as a random meeting, but as a divine appointment sealed in heaven. You don't have to strive to find them. You don't need to fear missing though. I am doing the arranging. All I need from you is readiness. Stay open. Stay present. Stay in the flow of obedience, and you will be exactly where you need to be. There will be no striving in this connection. No awkward forcing. It will carry peace. It will feel like timing catching up with destiny. And when you meet them, your spirit will recognize the moment before your mind catches up. I've removed the ones who couldn't go with you, not to leave you empty, but to make room for what's been reserved. You had to walk through seasons of aloneness, not because I was punishing you, but because I was preparing you to receive without clinging, to welcome without idolizing, to discern without doubting. You're ready now not just to be poured into, but to walk in mutuality. This next relationship will not drain you. It will fuel you. It won't require performance, only presence. And in this alignment, you'll find doors opening that were previously locked, not because you didn't try hard enough before, but because it wasn't the right time or connection. I have hidden certain doors on purpose, waiting until the one I appointed arrived carrying the key. Not everyone was meant to open what belongs to your next level. But this one is coming with favor that flows, not fights. They won't compete with you, they'll cover you in prayer. They won't misunderstand your silence, they'll discern your spirit. And I will use this bond to expand what I've planted in both of you. You will build together. You dream together. Break limitations together. What seemed like an impossible collaboration will become a daily reality. It will not be rushed. It will be rooted. And it will bear fruit quickly, because it's planted in alignment. You will look back on this moment and realize I was never delaying connection, I was designing it. Every no led to this yes. Every ending protected this beginning. And when it arrives, you'll know it didn't come through your effort, it came through my orchestration. This person is not coming to complete you, you are already whole. But they are coming to walk with you as you both step through the threshold of something brand new, for the places where things unraveled, where your hands were emptied, where you stood staring at the remains of what you once believed would last forever. Those are the very places I'm revisiting with divine recompense. I saw what was taken. I saw what slipped through your fingers. I witnessed the slow fading of what you hoped would remain. And though it felt like loss, though it looked like defeat, I've marked it as a place of return, not to what was, but to what's better. I am not simply giving back what left, I am replacing it with more than you imagined possible. This isn't a rebuild using broken pieces. This is a new structure, stronger, purer, and tailor-made for what's ahead. You will not spend the rest of your life mourning what collapsed. The ashes you stood in will soon be unrecognizable under the beauty I am forming from them. I am taking every area you labeled failure and infusing it with favor. You saw the end of something precious. I saw the planting of something eternal. There are places within you that still echo with what was lost, dreams, people, seasons, years, but those echoes are about to be drowned out by the sound of multiplication. Where you were emptied, I will overflow. Where you were stripped, I will clothe you with more than provision, I will wrap you in purpose. What you lost was real, but what I'm restoring will be undeniable. I am not returning things to the way they were, I am introducing you to what I had always planned from the beginning. You cried over what was removed, but soon you will rejoice over what is revealed. I know the cost. I know the ache. I know the nights you stared at what remained and wondered how you would ever rebuild. But I was never asking you to build it alone. I've been working beneath the surface, cultivating new beginnings underground that once felt barren. Your tears watered the soil. Your prayers softened the ground. Your hope, even when faint, kept the seed alive. And now the harvest is beginning to rise, not a trickle, not a glimpse, but a full measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. You won't have to chase it. It will come to you. Unexpected doors will swing open. New resources will appear from unlikely places. People who carry what you need will find you without you searching. Relationships that reflect your healed heart, opportunities that match your maturity, provisions that outpace your problems. All of this is part of my multiplied restoration. I am restoring with interest. What was lost in 1 year will be returned with increase. What was broken in 1 moment will be rebuilt with acceleration. You may not recognize the place where you fell, because I am turning it into the ground where you rise. You won't be defined by what left, you'll be known by what arrived in its place. I will use the loss to birth something so powerful that even the enemy will regret ever touching your life. You will speak from a place of fullness, not fiction. Others will look at you and wonder how you overcame so much and still carry peace, still radiate joy, still believe. But only you and I will know the depth of the wilderness that came before the flood. This is not surface-level restoration. I'm reaching into the marrow of your journey and rewiring the outcomes. The cracks left behind by disappointment are being filled with gold. The scars etched by grief are being turned into beauty marks. You are not a victim of loss, you are a vessel for my redemption. And those who watched you in the wilderness will now witness you in the land of plenty. Don't limit me to what was lost, expect more than what was taken. Open your heart wide, because what I'm releasing won't fit into your previous experience. It will exceed it. It will redeem it. It will redefine it. This is the kind of restoration only I can give, the kind that doesn't just make up for what you lacked, but establishes you stronger than ever before, for you felt the pressure rising. The deadlines, the bills, the responsibilities, they've been pressing in from every side, making it harder to breathe. You've walked through days pretending you were fine, while internally trying to hold back the rising tide of anxiety. You've done what you could, stretched what little you had, made sacrifices others never saw. And yet, it felt like the provision stayed just out of reach. But what you didn't know is that while you were watching the numbers, I was commanding the release. Long before the burden grew heavy, I had already made provision for the solution. The breakthrough you've been waiting for isn't being created, it has already been sent. What you've been praying for isn't being considered, it's in motion. My storehouses are never empty. I am not pacing the floor of heaven wondering how to meet your need. I am the God who multiplies what's in your hands and causes what's been held up to arrive right on time. I saw the moment you grew weary. I heard the prayers you whispered in exhaustion. And I responded not with delay but with divine dispatch. The reason you haven't seen it yet is not because I withheld it, it's because I was aligning it to arrive in such a way that when it comes, you will know without a doubt it was me. No strings attached. Overviewing. Just favor wrapped in peace. I'm about to send unexpected provision through people, sources, and avenues you didn't even know existed. Not to impress you, but to remind you that I've always been your source. Your income is not your security. Your job is not your foundation. I am. And when the systems around you shift, I remain constant. You thought you were waiting on money, but money was waiting on your surrender. Now that your heart has leaned into me instead of panic, the floodgates are opening. I will cause debt to dissolve, needs to be met, and doors to swing open financially, not as a reward for performance, but as a demonstration of my nature. I take care of my own. Always. You'll no longer dread the end of the month. You'll no longer make decisions out of fear of lack. I'm breaking the spirit of scarcity that tried to attach itself to your mindset. I'm dismantling the worry that crept in with every unpaid notice. You won't live under the shadow of financial strain any longer. I am sending wisdom with the wealth, strategy with the solution, peace with the pavilion. You won't mishandle what I'm releasing, because I've prepared your character to carry it. I'm not just sending enough to survive, I'm releasing more than you asked for so you can build, bless, and breathe. The overflow will not crush you, it will commission you. You'll move from stress into stewardship. You'll move from worry into generosity. I'm awakening dreams you buried because of what you couldn't afford. I'm breathing life into projects you placed on hold. The vision I gave you wasn't too expensive, it just needed to wait for the right time. And that time is now. I'm sending provision not just to fix your present but to fund your future. Don't look for it to come through familiar channels. I'm not limited to your assumptions. I will provide in ways that confound logic but confirm my promise. You'll receive deposits you didn't chase. Opportunities will appear that pay what others said you'd never be worth. Resources are already on the way. And when they arrive, let your response be worship, not worry. Don't hoard in fear, sow in faith. What I release into your hands is not just for your comfort, it's for my kingdom. You'll have enough to pay what's owed, plant for what's coming, and bless those around you. This is more than a moment, it's a shift. I am resetting your financial foundation. No more cycles of lack. No more anxiety in giving. No more fear in receiving. This is the kind of breakthrough that redefines how you think, live, and give. For while you've been faithfully showing up in small spaces, doing unseen work, and remaining steadfast when recognition was absent, I've been speaking your name in places where decisions are made. You may feel like you've been in the shadows, but I've been preparing the stage. You've sown in quiet, served without applause, carried burdens without complaint, and now I am moving in a way that brings your obedience into alignment with opportunity. Your name hath been whispered in conversations you didn't know were happening. You've been mentioned in circles you've never entered. And it's not by chance, it's by my design. The seeds of honor you've planted in the dark are now producing fruit in rooms you haven't entered yet. You're not chasing platforms. You're being positioned by favor. I am extending your influence, not for status, but for impact. Those who never noticed you will begin to take notice, not because of your striving, but because my wind is behind your name. The open doors that are approaching won't be because you networked harder or shouted louder, they'll be because I spoke first. When I raise a voice, no gatekeeper can shut the door. You've been walking in integrity when no one was watching, and I've been building your reputation in heaven, not just on earth. Soon, the natural will catch up to the spiritual. Your name will go before you. Invitations will find you. Opportunities will recognize you. And when it happens, you will not be caught off guard. You will feel the confirmation in your spirit, because we've been preparing together in secret. These doors will not require performance. You won't need to prove yourself. You won't need to convince anyone that you belong. I have already affirmed you. I have already qualified you. And what I open, no one will be able to question. This is not about being seen. It's about being sent. I'm not elevating you for vanity, I'm releasing you for assignment. You are not entering these spaces to be impressed, you are entering to influence, to shift atmospheres, to deliver what I've deposited in you through the crushing. Those rooms are waiting for what you carry. And when you speak, it won't just be heard, it will be received. Not because of eloquence, but because it will be drenched in my spirit. The weight of what I've placed in you is about to rest upon environments that are ready to be transformed. I am sending you into spaces where strategy is missing, and you'll bring clarity. Into places filled with noise, and you'll bring peace. Into systems that feel rigid, and your presence will cause breakthrough. They won't understand how you arrived so suddenly, but you will know it was me. I've watched you wrestle in hidden seasons with whether your life was making a difference. But I tell you now, not only are you making a difference, but what's coming next will multiply your reach far beyond what you imagined. You won't just be invited in, you will be welcomed. And what once took years for others to build will come to you swiftly, not because you took shortcuts, but because you allowed me to take the lead. I'm raising your voice to speak into places that hold influence, and I'm expanding your reach to touch lives you never thought you could impact. But as I do this, stay low in spirit. Stay tender. Stay teachable. Remember the quiet years, because they were the foundation. Never forget that your influence began with intimacy. As the rooms grow bigger, keep your ears tuned to me. As the platforms stretch wider, keep your eyes locked on mine. I'm not giving you an audience, I'm giving you an assignment. You'll walk in prepared, not intimidated. You'll stand firm, not swayed. You'll bring substance, not noise. And I will confirm it every step of the way. So don't question why your name is rising now, it's because the hour has come, and I've chosen to lift it myself. For amen.